we've got all of these different electronic things. We've got so much going on. People are so busy. They don't take the time with each other. They don't hear each other. They can't even handle all that they're taking on. So I am incredibly careful who I have in my life, number one, how I spend my time, taking care of me first, because I didn't last time, and look what happened. I got deathly sick because there was nothing left for me in me.
Right.
And that's what we were taught to do by all the so-called authorities in society. And then you think, well, you're not a very nice person if you put yourself first. But to me, how can I care deeply about another human being until I know how to be deeply caring about myself?
Right.
It just makes sense. So that's what that is. So I love what I do.
Nice.
And every little thing means so much to me. A thank you. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be drawn out. It's just acknowledging each other.
Right.
Means everything to me. And that's what sustains us. If you take a look walking down the street, I sometimes wonder when a lot of young people have always come to me, they say I'm an inspiration and I'm not like a 68-year-old woman and all this stuff, and they can't talk to their parents too freely, and I don't ever judge a human being. I don't want to be judged. I don't judge people, but I discern. And there's a big difference.
And what is that difference?
Well, I think judging means that I think I'm better or that critical or whatever. I'm not that, but I do discern for my own sake now. That's part of taking care of myself. Does this person resonate? Do I feel connected? And I'm talking right now about being close up, like a friend, man or woman. How close do I want a person to get? In other words, I discern who I let in and who I don't.
And you're not saying they're good or bad.
No.
It's just how...
No, it's what can I handle? How can I be okay? A person can be perfectly fine, but it's not good for me.
How do you think the average person learns that difference? Like, because you strike me as being a very self-aware person. I mean, and I get the difference that you're talking about, because I hope I do the same thing. I certainly try.
Right.
But I'm wondering, from your point of view, like, if you were to say to, you're saying discern, don't judge. How does your average person do that? Like, where is there a starting point, or is there anything that you can, that you can say that your average Joe might be able to take away from this?
Well, I think when I learned how to say thank you, but no thank you, I used to say yes a lot because I wanted to please. I don't do that anymore. And that is part of being quiet, listening to who you are in a way of, what can I tolerate as a Diana? What can I do? Like, I have wonderful young friends, and they have little children. I am so respectful of little children, but I can't spend much time around them. My nervous system can't handle it. So it's that kind of thing. So instead of doing something, say, inviting the kids over when the mother comes, I don't do that. I'm very honest, and I want others to be honest with me too. It's like they know that I can't handle more than 5 minutes of children's chatter because of my nervous system. And so
You know what? I think a lot of people are like that, even with their own nervous systems.
Of course. And yet people they assume from others. They have expectation. Well, you're my friend. Of course you're going to take my kids too. No. Doesn't mean I don't care about them. It doesn't mean I don't love them, but I have limits. So it's the part of getting to know yourself, and that changes as you get to know yourself. It also changes. Like, I've never been 68 years old before.
Right.
So,
what's it like?
Oh, I tell you. Well, right now I'm loving it, And I'm not afraid of getting older. And I want to do it as graciously as I can. And I take good care of myself. I don't over-exercise. I walk 5 miles every morning. And I eat properly. And just do the basic things, but I don't do it because somebody else says to, or you should try this, or you should try. It's just common sense. And so I first nurture me, and then I can nurture you in a good way. And
Sure.
one of the things that I find very difficult in society is that people don't ask questions. They do assume a lot, they have expectations, and they don't usually follow through. They say all the right things, and they get on board with things, and then you don't hear from them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's incredibly disrespectful. I am you and you are me.
Yeah.
And how do I like to be treated? If you can't make some appointment, just a quick call. And you reschedule, or you don't schedule at all, but you let each other know. I just find that it's rampant.
That must be hard for you here then, because people are so hard to get people to keep appointments.
Oh, I've been back in Canada for 3 years. I've been gone for 30 years. And I've lived in a lot of great places, and I love nature in Canada. But when I came here, I've learned the hard way again. I would make an appointment with people, no call, nothing, and then they'd see me on the street and they'd do their business on the street. I'm not used to that. I'm a real professional, and I'm a real friend. The two don't mix in so many ways. They can, if both people are aware, but there's boundaries. Mm-hmm. There's certain ways of being. And I don't mean that in a restricted, way of, well, this is the way it is. I just mean it's a common courtesy. When I have business to do, I want to take care of business. I don't want personal stuff coming into it right then. Mm-hmm. It's not the time or the place. So I don't think people basically have many boundaries. And that really bothers me.
Right.
Because, again, it's about respect. Respect for myself, respect for the other. And it's so simple. But I think that human beings have just made a mess of things, and it's up to each one of us to take care of becoming the best we can be. It's not up to somebody else to fill those parts. It's not up to somebody else to do it for us. That is my job. I've been given a temple, and a mind, and a body, and a soul, and that's for me to take really special care of. And I don't think most people do. They look on the outside, they look in these extraneous places, and they don't connect, but they do it anyways. I know my heroin friend said he made a conscious choice of choosing the drug of heroin when he was very young. And I could respect that because he was conscious of what he was doing. What I don't respect is when somebody does something and won't own up to it and it affects another person.
Ah, yes. Well, now, sorry.
No, that's fine.
But, because one of the things that, as we've been talking, that I wanted to ask you about that I thought might be enlightening for people who are listening to this, and me too, that you said that with your last husband or partner, that you got to really know addiction. Can, for the edification of others, I guess, can you tell me what you know? Is there stuff that you can talk about your own experiences that, you can say, well, this happened, and in hindsight it's obvious, or,
Yeah.
are there things that people should look out for?
Well,
Or
yeah.
anything like that along those lines? Is that being too general?
No,
Okay.
no. I think that, first of all, it all comes back to doing your own homework. I am accountable for me. And I think that's a huge one, first of all, is that, somebody else might be doing something that you don't approve of. But that's really not my business.
Right.
It's my business is to deal with how I react or feel or behave about it. That means I have to be responsible. When I was in the hospital, it was where the culmination of my addiction, which I found out with all the husbands and all the boyfriends and all of that, which I have had many, many in the past, and not a one in the last 18 years. And I'm really happy now. Go figure, I don't know. But anyways, it really kind of comes down to when we don't value ourselves, we will find ourselves in places that we did not expect to find ourselves for who knows what reasons and trends and brainwashing and advertisements and you name it, and it's out there. Unless you wake up. When I was in the hospital and I was at the end of that relationship, that addictive relationship, and I think this is the moment that changed my life, one of the big moments that changed my life. When I could admit that I had all those men in my life, it was, I wanted to be loved so bad. And I didn't get the love I wanted from my father. And I was afraid. And when I put those components together, that I was looking to be loved, I don't care what addiction it is that we have. It can be a drug, it can be, horse racing, I don't care. But there's something within self that is not at peace. I don't look for anything now.